everyone. Today we are going to talk about why you need mature product designs before working with a Chinese manufacturer. As part of our sourcing service, we have been talking to many inventors who are planning to manufacture their new products in China about the importance of starting with mature product designs. What many don't understand is there are several steps that just cannot be skipped, especially in product design and development phases. So now let's take a look at what are the Chinese manufacturing steps that shouldn't be skipped. 重来一下. So now let's take a look at what are the Chinese manufacturing steps that should not be skipped. Inventors should not ignore this important process when starting a manufacturing project in China. The first one is product concept, including an idea about target customers, distribution, pricing, etc. The second is product design. They usually have the first design, but not always very mature product designs. The third, prototypes to test the hypothesis behind the design. For example, good user experience, the possibility of certifications, etc. The next one is pre-production process engineering, and the last one is mass production. Remember, this is not for an off-the-shelf product. This is for a new-to-the-world product. The more unique and the more complex it is, the higher the number of uncertainties. So the next question you need to think is, can my Chinese manufacturer help with all of the production steps? If you are planning to get all of the above done with a Chinese manufacturer, you must be prepared for this complicated process. They are manufacturers and their business model is to produce, not to spend 6 to 12 months working on development. The more advanced your product design is, the more attractive your project will be to any factory, and the higher your chances of getting to market fast and without serious quality issues. Here, I can give you a few examples of what we call an immature product design. You can see, do you find that your project fits into any of these categories? The first example is the concept-only situation. An individual context design company explains a rough concept, same as products from brand XYZ with a classy design and nice materials, but he can show nothing. Or he draws something on a napkin. This can work in a few product categories like apparel with the right manufacturer or trading company. For mechanical and electronic goods, it goes nowhere. Those individuals usually think all they need is a prototype, only one round of prototype. Of course, since they don't see difficulties. So they can show it and gather some market interest. Again, the absence of market validation at that stage is a big issue, and no good Chinese supplier will spend time on this type of project. The second example is no understanding of the current competitive space. This is part of the product design. If you think you can mass produce and distribute a better product than current players and achieve that at a lower price point, but you don't bring in fresh ideas to cut costs, it is a sure sign that you are not thinking straight. A company needs sufficient capital and sufficient margins to buy the first batch, to set the basics in place, and to grow from that base. It needs to pay for advertising, distribution, sales, etc. If you are undercapitalized, your venture probably won't go very far. That's actually a blocking factor from the very beginning. Chinese manufacturers, as well as design firms and prototyping companies, can match patterns. They have seen projects make certain mistakes and crash into the ground, and they won't be motivated to help if they put you in the will probably crash category. A third example is no clear target market in mind. If you have a design but you are unable to explain who will buy it, that's an issue. Some inventors tell us they will just put it on Kickstarter to see if it catches on. Oh, and they have no idea about the fees they would have to pay an agency for preparing a nice Kickstarter campaign. Again, you cannot motivate design or prototyping firms to put their best people on your project in this case. They categorize you as having a high chance of going nowhere. Another example is industrial design has been done, but nothing else. Industrial design is one of the first things to get right, so that's a good thing. Hopefully, there are tolerances and a 3D printed prototype too. Let's take the example of an electronic product. The basic information any manufacturer will need about an electronic product is: first, a detailed description of features. Second, a list of components with specifications. Third, product architecture. How components are connected together is important in this case. Next, PCB schematic. Next, a look-alike and work-alike prototype. And next one is testing stations. And the last one, a timeline and volume projections. If you haven't worked on this and you expect a manufacturer to work through all this on their own, you are taking a very serious risk. You might spend 1 year working with a supplier that ends up giving up. You might see them go into production with your money and turn out a batch of non-conforming goods that cannot be sold. Everything will take longer than you're imagining. So it sounds very complicated. You might think, is there a shortcut? Unfortunately, the answer is not really. Some people decide to develop their custom product with an ODM factory, which already makes very similar products. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it is a very dangerous trap. We have seen situations that unfolded this way. The ODM factory learns all they can and they do the development with the purpose of selling it themselves in their existing distribution channels. Or the buyer made a tremendous mistake, not having the supplier sign an enforceable agreement that stipulates non-disclosure, non-use, and non-circumvention. Or the buyer provides design inspiration and market-related knowledge. They train the manufacturer who gets many insights into this product. In the end, the buyer realizes that they have been trapped, their idea is being executed on, and there's nothing they can do about it. So, what's the next? If you're an inventor, hardware startup, or business that has a design idea, but you fit into one of the above categories, then you may have some questions about how to improve and prepare your designs to take them to mature product designs, which will help make your manufacturing process smoothly, quickly, and on budget. If you have similar questions and concerns, you can contact us, and we're happy to help you to go through all these complicated steps. Okay, that's all we have today. Thank you for your attention, and we will see you in our next one.